I'm Paul Geddes, Business Development and Strategy for TDG Gold. I'm joined here by Michael Koswan, our chairman, who's sitting somewhere out there. And let's get to it. I'm really excited to take you guys through this. Okay, I promise not to lie to you very much. TDG Gold, if you have not heard of us, we're basically a platform. We're a junior minor exploration company. We're not developers. Very simply, our thesis is this. We want accelerated, pragmatic delivery of an investment return as quickly as possible. My investment thesis is I want it yesterday and I want a lot. I don't just want doubles, I want triples, 10 baggers, that type of thing. We've been invested 11% by Skeena. And again, to summarize this, the best place to look for a mine is in the shadow of a head frame. Big take homes here. 16 million in the bank, half and half split between hard and flow through. So we're very well funded. As I mentioned previously, Skeena owns an 11% interest, option to go up to 15%. Basically, we have a very strong shareholder base and support group with both Bank of Montreal and Claris. Originally, the flagship property, well, I suppose it still is the flagship property, is the GSN Aurora complex, where we share a common border with A-Mark Freeport. However, that's not the focus of this discussion. We're going to talk about a brand new discovery that we had. And again, GSN up in the Tootagon, Antiox project over near Prince Rupert. Now, if you have not heard of Antiox, do not worry, you're not the only ones. And that is why I'm so incredibly drawn to this thing. This thing has been sleeping since 1935. I tell my peers, oh yeah, I'm going up to work on the Antiox project. They have no clue what I'm talking about. And these guys are VMS geologists. What's really good about it is that it has deep water access. So I've set the tone. All right, what's this Antiox thing? Antiox is actually a Nisga'a word that means hidden. And that's exactly what it is. So in 1901, if you can imagine, everybody's making the migration up to Alaska, gold rush, somebody has the wherewithal to stop, camp out for the night. They see a massive rusty rock sticking out of the ground. That sooner than later becomes the Hidden Creek Mine. And that was operated by the Granby Gold Mining Company in between 1914 and 1935. If you look at a map of British Columbia circa 1920, there's 4 places on the map. There's Victoria, the capital of British Columbia, Vancouver, obviously, Prince George, because it was a central hub, and Antiox, town of 5,000 people, crown jewel for blister production of copper for the entire British Empire. So in 1936, it goes into receivership with Cominco. Why? Well, it was developed down to 300 meters vertical depth. They couldn't haul it out at a profit anymore, courtesy of commodity prices in the Great Depression. It is not because they ran out of ore. So the take home here is that we are in the first mover in basically a completely forgotten district. So it is a VMS deposit. It is a Beshi style VMS deposit, which means it's a copper rich end member. Now, for the sake of comparison, the Bousquet-Laurent camp. We know that these things, they cycle, they repeat, they cluster. If you find one, you are more than likely going to find more than one, okay? It's highly unlikely that they sit by themselves. Now, if we take a look at how Bousquet-Laurent developed over time, that's how it worked out. But it's just a matter of having a tip of an iceberg to basically start with. Same thing here. This is going to be vertical longitudinal sections, just like the other one. Surface is at the top. There's Antiox for scale. If we take a look, McIlvenna Bay was one drill hole in 1988. That was an electromagnetic anomaly that Cameco drilled. Look where it is now. Tesla Zone is still wide open. Kidd Creek, exactly the same situation. Electromagnetic airborne anomaly. Kidd Creek is going down to those depths. It keeps going. They're going to shut it down next year only because they can't haul it to surface at a profit. So the Antiox district, that's great. So you've got this mine that went down 300 meters. I've also let them point out that nobody has essentially tested anything below 300 meters. Everybody has also gone in on these piecemeal land holdings and done the usual geophysical surveys. The depth penetration on that would have been 300 meters max depth. Okay. Paul, there's nothing at Antioch. You are never going to find anything else. Everybody's been there and they've done that. However, we utilized a slightly better mousetrap this last year. We covered the entire area, which by the way stretches 13 kilometers. And wouldn't it be great if we did find the tip of an iceberg? Okay, that's a great story up until it is or it isn't. Well, guess what? It was. 15 days ago, we actually drilled and just announced on Monday brand new discovery. Okay, this is the first time since 1936 in this area. You can see again, we're in a long section, surface at the top of the page, the former mine development. Basically what we did is we had an airborne anomaly, really nice. The chief geophysicist who was working for us was the same guy who worked for Hud Bay. He looked at this and he's like, oh my God, if I didn't know any better, I'd swear there was a mine here. Well, thanks, no shit, there was, okay? He's like, but we gotta get better resolution on this. I need you to extend some drill holes and I need you to probe them. So that is what we did. We took hole number 3 from 2024, took it all the way down to 1,000 meters, hit 5 meters of massive sulfide. We didn't announce it because that was early days. Subsequent to that, we probed it, okay? And we generated what are plates. Plates are basically 3-dimensional representations of the geophysics that gives you a rough geometry of a body, a conductive body. So, proof is in the pudding. We drilled 80 meters step out, intersected the numbers that you see there, 25 meters of 2.1 plus byproduct credits. And we have another hole, another 80 meter step out, pending. If you look at that just in comparison, this is a plan map of the area. So the historical workings are what you see on the right-hand side in the gray. Just for comparison's sake, the number 1 ore body, which is that big thick blob that you see on the bottom right corner of the page, the number 1 ore body produced about 2% copper, no byproducts because they didn't take them out at the time. Average dimensions were 400 by 500 by 75 meters thick, okay? Keep in mind, it also goes all the way up to surface and was eroded. So that lens was probably larger. The entire mine produced a lot more than that. So the concept has been proven. You can see the size of the plates relative to the deposit. It's extremely early days on this one. And again, just to put it into section here. So the mine is at the top of the page, surface. You see that sort of bluish line that comes down, traces down to the plates. That's the geological contact. That's where all the joy is supposed to be happening. Keep in mind that in between these holes and the mine, it's still untested, obviously untested everywhere around the new anomalies. And we're looking forward to working with those. Now, granted, yes, that is deep. That's 1,000 meters down. But when we had that extension and we got those anomalies, this isn't something we could walk away from. We had to drill this. Having said that, there's still plenty of anomalies that are sitting up at the surface in basically what I liken to be the Flin Flon camp if you had a time machine and went back when only one of the mines had been discovered. Pretty exciting. Just generalized idea of the land situation there. We're up near the Kitsault mine. Anything that you see in gray is our land position. There's only one other land holder for the most part. The trend is 13 kilometers long, and there's numerous other occurrences on that trend, again, in the top 300 meters. Early days, essentially unexplored since 1936. And that's it. So we also have another property, GSN Aurora. You know, we're, myself and Michael will be at the booth. We kindly urge you to come by. That deposit plus the 1 million ounces that we have there is currently trading, according to Claris, at $20 Canadian per ounce. Our peers are trading at 195. So there is an opportunity here. And that's it with 9 seconds left. Thank you. Appreciate it.